What's up, world? It's your boy Jaron Ikner back again with another video for Starstruck TV. This time we're talking again about the notorious Verzuz battles brought to you by Swizz Beatz and Timbaland. I've only been reviewing a couple of these, mostly the ones that I'm really highly interested in. This one in particular that's actually finishing up as we speak featured two of the most prominent rappers of my generation, DMX versus Snoop Dogg. The Battle of the Dogs is what they're calling it, East versus West. And I must say that before I begin, Snoop Dogg, his career is probably the most illustrious and impressive out there. I mean, there's many others. Like you have your Eminems and you have your Dr. Dre's, but when you really think about Snoop Dogg's career and the fact that he's able to stay relevant since the early 1990s all the way up to now, it's pretty remarkable. And I can't think of another rapper who has done it as well as him. I know when I had this discussion on my Facebook page, someone mentioned E40, and yeah, he's a good example too as someone who's been around just for a very long time. But Snoop Dogg, he is like literally like a household name. My mom knows who Snoop Dogg is. You know, he has crossed over into a plane of like god tier celebrity, and I really can't think of another rapper who has done it and then also has remained relevant in the music field. And this Verzuz battle really kind of proved that, in the fact that a lot of the songs that Snoop Dogg's were playing, these are some of the greatest rap songs of all time, period. You know, What's My Name, Lay Low. I mean, I'm not even gonna list all the songs, but when these songs play, you know, you can almost put a time frame around the exact moment or where you were at in your life when you hear these songs. Like, Snoop Dogg's career has spanned generations to where when I hear Beautiful, I flash back to like the early 2000s, you know, when I'm just trying to be on my pimp shit, you know what I'm saying, trying to get popping. And it's just really crazy to think about like how that song kind of encapsulates those moments. And that's the power of music. And much love to Snoop Dogg. And this is not to say that DMX isn't impactful. If you know me personally, you know that I do have some issues with Swizz Beatz as a producer. I'm not a really big fan of Swizz Beatz beats. Maybe I'll make another video about that on my Jaron Ikner page, but as far as Swizz Beatz goes, he's not my favorite producer. But with that said, DMX has done the absolute most with Swizz Beatz' beats. More so than any other rapper, more so than T.I., more so than Jay-Z, more so than anybody else who has worked with Swizz Beatz throughout his career. DMX has maximized Swizz Beatz' production to like its utmost potential. And with that said, like, their connection is so deep that it's kind of disheartening for me, because I think that one of the issues that I had with DMX as he got into his deeper albums like the Great Depression and all that, is that we began to realize how much of a crutch Swizz Beatz is to his sound. And you know, I really would want to see DMX like branch out to work with different producers, find different sounds, get experimental, things like that. But most of his stuff is just like this aggressive Swizz Beatz tinged music, which is fine. No, he still has amazing songs. But the songs that I was really gravitating to in this battle were the songs that featured like Aaliyah. You know, he had songs like his song with Big Pun. Like, there's so many songs that he has that really puts him as a staple. And his passion alone, he's probably the most passionate rapper in hip hop history besides like Tupac Shakur. And I'm sure some of you guys will probably debate me in the comment section, but in my opinion, DMX's passion alone puts him in the top tier category. So what was interesting about this battle was the dynamic between these two artists, in the sense that Snoop Dogg, you know, he is you know, one of the most successful rappers of all time. He is on the GOAT list. My mom knows who he is. He has hit songs that span generations and define hip hop. But then you have DMX, whose first album, It's Dark and Hell's Hot, and by the way, is probably one of the greatest albums of all time, period. I don't think that this is really up for debate. You can debate me in the comments if you want, but DMX's It's Dark and Hell is Hot is one of the greatest albums of all time. I'm not just talking about hip hop. I'm talking period. When that album came out, it was a paradigm shift for the black man in America. And I know that this sounds kind of weird, and I'm not even gonna dive into that right now, but that album was extremely important in a lot of ways. This is not to say that Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style album is also on that list. You know, it's also one of the most important albums of all time outside of hip hop, period. That album defined a whole era and genre of music during the early 90s, and it really set the standard for hip hop during that decade. So both of these dudes have really important debut albums, and the songs that they play from these debut albums, you know, you have DMX's songs that people I can't remember. I'm flustered right now. But the point is that DMX's catalog in his first album versus Doggy Style's catalog are actually pretty even killed. The issues that I run into in this battle, and the reason why DMX lost, is that Snoop Dogg's catalog is just way too long. You know, DMX went non-existent for a while. He kind of went away for a while. He went to jail. His career definitely declined in the 2000s, and he wasn't in the conversation at all for a certain point in time. And even now, I wouldn't even consider DMX like in the conversation. But Snoop Dogg, his career has spanned literally since the early 1990s, about to say 1900s, early 1990s. Snoop Dogg has been around all the way up until now, and every time he has come out, he has reinvented himself, and his catalog just is not. It doesn't compete. I mean, DMX's catalog simply does not compete with Snoop Dogg's. It's just not possible. And you know, it sounds cool that it was like, you know, the battle of the dogs and East versus West and DMX versus Snoop. But you know, once this battle got going and I realized that Snoop has an extensive catalog of massive hit singles, I knew that this was gonna go towards Snoop Dogg. And I felt that way coming into the battle, but I wanted to try and give DMX the benefit of the doubt because, you know, I respect DMX. He is one of my favorite rappers. I think that he has really captured the heart and passion of what it means to be a rapper. And even more so than Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg has a certain smoothness and a certain air of being silky on the track and having the cool voice. But DMX, he prided himself on his aggression, on his ability to really tap into something visceral on his music that Snoop Dogg can never, ever, ever do. And that's just facts. But when it comes to the hit singles, you know, the DMX doesn't have songs like Beautiful in his catalog. Although, you know, his album, like I was pleasantly surprised and pleasantly nostalgic at some of these songs that I was hearing, because it reminded me that, you know, DMX is one of the greats. He is on that list. If you were to list the top 25 rappers of all time, I think DMX sneaks in there somewhere. But with that in mind, you know, he just can't compete with Snoop Dogg. And then when you combine that with Snoop Dogg's collaborations and his ghostwriting with Dr. Dre, his catalog, it just smashes. It just smashes. And what's funny is that as I started this video, they were diving into their major hits. DMX had played, you know, Rough Riders Anthem, and Snoop Dogg was playing Drop It Like It's Hot. And, you know, those are probably their two most defining songs as artists, are those two songs. But even when you compare those songs, it's almost like, you know, Drop It Like It's Hot really shifted the sound. It was a sound shifter. Not to say that Rough Riders Anthem wasn't impactful, not to say that it's not a banger, not to say that it wasn't a good song, but it wasn't, you can't compare that to Drop It Like It's Hot. Like, that song was a massive success smash that crossed over into mainstream in a way that Rough Riders Anthem didn't quite do. And I'm sure some of y'all are going to debate that in the comments, but in my opinion, you know, it's like comparing a god to a king. Snoop Dogg being a god and DMX being a king. You know, kings still do what they do. You know what I'm saying? They still rule. They still get it popping. But, you know, Snoop Dogg he's one of the very few rappers in an entire game, an entire industry. If you would like actually think about all the rappers in the entire industry, right? There's probably like 10 rappers that really have transcended the genre into something that makes them a cornerstone of the art, and then also makes them a household name, and their career is ubiquitous. And these are cats like, you know, the Jay-Z's, the Eminems, the Kanyes, the Snoop Doggs. These are the people who, these are household names. Like, if your mom or your grandma knows who these people are, then you know. Like, my mom might be familiar with DMX, but she's not gonna be singing, you know, Party Up in Here. You know what I'm saying? She's just not doing that. So, with that said, I have to give the landslide victory to Snoop Dogg. But I'm not trying to discredit DMX. Like I said before, DMX is amazing. He's a great rapper, and like his journey to even get to this point it was a hard one. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I think we really have to appreciate as a black man in America, or just a fan of hip hop. His ability, his resilience, and his ability to like fight through all the bullshit that he's been through as an artist and as a human being. And it's super admirable. And like I said, I give DMX the utmost respect. But in the context of this battle of DMX versus Snoop Dogg completely smashed DMX, and there wasn't really much competition there. It was fun to watch though, and I think that was the best thing about this. And this is a nod to, you know, Timbaland and Swiss Beats for creating Verzuz, because Verzuz is arguably the best thing to come out of this pandemic situation, for sure. This ability to see these artists connect, tell their stories behind their music, and do something that they really love and share with the world in new ways, in innovative ways, is really just inspiring. So, you know, even though I do have my personal reservations with Swiss Beats, I do give him his flowers for that, him and Timbaland, for creating something so amazing. But, you know, let me know what you think in the comment section. You know, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. But please let me know, who do you think won the battle between DMX and Verzuz? And I'll be back with more videos with Starstruck TV. But you should go check out my new channel. I have a brand new channel, Jaron Ikner, JaronIkner. I do a lot more thought pieces, editorials, not really review type of gossip stuff, but more stuff that's like kind of from my mind. So, you know, check it out. Appreciate you guys watching. We out. Late.